To be honest, I didn't understand why she was naked and then dousing herself in blue stuff and eating oranges, but everyone else was crying and I was sitting there like, what is going on? Sis might have a lot more tea to spill.
Change the world. Your imagination.
It could change the world.
Hello wonderful people, welcome back to Coffee Over Apples. My name's Steph. So for today's video, I'm sharing with you a really random quarantine book haul. I ordered a couple books online quite a while ago. I ordered these books from Thrift Books because they had a sale going on, and like it took close to a month to get here. That is usually the case. However, I've been finding really good deals. So, and I'm kind of running out of books to read at home, and my library doesn't have a lot of options. So without further ado, here is a very random quarantine book haul. Something that I found walking down the beach recently. We kind of went for a small walk down our local beach, and we don't go there very often. Like we're on quarantine and we've only left the house like 3 times. And one of those was to go walking, get some fresh air down at the beach. There's literally nobody there. We were probably the whole time they were there, we saw like 1 or 2 other families walking around, and everyone kept like 20 feet of distance between them. Stumbled upon this cute little donation box that the library put together. So it's kind of like a give one take one kind of book drive thing that people could just drop off random books and take whatever they want. Something that was recommended to me a long time ago and I haven't read yet, so as soon as I saw it I scooped it up, and I kind of owe them a book, so next time I pass by I will make sure to drop one off. However, I did not know that I was going there when I went, so I owe them a book. But anyway, so what I ended up picking up was The Shack by Paul Young. I don't know anything about this book. The only reason I picked it up is because a lot of people I know recommended it to me. So I'm just going to read the back synopsis and we're kind of going to figure this out together. So it says, Mackenzie Allen Phillips' youngest daughter, Missy, has been abducted during a family vacation, and evidence that she may have been brutally murdered is found in an abandoned shack deep in the Oregon wilderness. 4 years later, in the midst of his great sadness, Mac receives a suspicious note, apparently from God, inviting him back to that shack for a weekend. Against his better judgment, he arrives at the shack on a wintry afternoon and walks back into his darkest nightmare. What he finds there will change Mac's world forever. Who recommended this to me? Okay, I'm not a particularly religiously devout person, so I'm not sure. However, I am open to like listening to other people's ideas and studying different religions and cultures. But I don't know why. I mean, I do like thrillers, and horror is my favorite. Thrillers, horror, and sci-fi are my favorite genres, so this sounds like a horror, I guess, or a thriller, I don't know. So maybe that's why this was recommended to me. But I guess we'll find out together. So moving on to the next book in this book haul is, ta-da! The 4th book in the Game of Thrones Song and Ice and Fire series, A Feast of Crows by George R.R. Martin. This copy is more beat up than I thought it said it was. Like, it said it was in good condition, but it's got like tears here, it's got stains on it. This book is beat up. Okay. In case you don't know, I'm currently finishing the 3rd book in the Song of Ice and Fire series for the Owls Readathon. I'm going for the Mage of Visual Arts. So I'm super excited to get to this one. I am in love with this series. It might just be my favorite series of all time. Like, I'm going to be doing another video pretty soon about the 3rd book because it is hitting me in the feels. I can't deal. This is one of those series that, like, I'm super excited to just crash into, even though each book, it's, like, longer and longer. I think this one is, like, 1,000. Okay, this one's 1,000 pages. It's a little bit shorter than the 3rd one. And, like, big books don't bother me. Big books don't bother me. But, I'm scared to finish the series because we don't know when the 6th book, The Winds of Winter, is coming out, even though it's been promised to us every year for the past 3 years. So who knows, maybe since George R.R. Martin is in quarantine with the rest of us, he will actually finish it. Moving on. The next couple books in this haul are manga. I picked up my favorite anime series of all time in manga, books 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that is Yu Yu Hakusho Ghost Files. In case you don't know what this is, Yu Yu Hakusho is a very popular anime from the 1990s. I believe it came out in like 91, 92, around when I was born. So it's about as old as I am. And it centrals around this young boy named Yusuke Urameshi, and he's a high school student, but he's a bully, and he's just like all around horrible person, but it kind of reflective of his home life, which is really messed up. And so he does one day he does something completely unexpected, which is he ends up saving this little boy who was about to get hit by a car, and then he dies. So when he dies, a Grim Reaper comes to collect his soul, but then says to him, like, hey, listen, you're a horrible person, and we weren't expecting you to die today by saving somebody, so your spot in hell is not ready for you yet. You can just kind of, like, hang out here in limbo. And then he ends up, and this is not a spoiler because, like, this sets up the story within the first, like, 10 episodes, and the whole anime is, like, 112 episodes, so everything I'm saying is, like, the very, very beginning. So he ends up, like, striking a deal with the king of the afterlife in order to get his body back, in order to get his life back, but in exchange he has to become a detective and solve crimes for the spirit world and, like, kick demon butt, all that stuff. I like to think of it as, like, a combo between, like, it has a lot of action and fighting, kind of like DBZ, but it also hits you in the feels like Sailor Moon, or, like, it has a lot of romance in it. But it's funny, it's actiony, and it's romantic, and it's just, like, a classic. I think it's one of, like, it is my favorite anime of all time, but it's one of those, like, classics. And if you've never heard of it or never watched it, I highly suggest. So I got the first 5 books in the series, and I will probably end up doing a reading vlog for this, like, comparing the manga to the anime. So if anybody would like to see that, please let me know. The next book is called The Teacher Wars by Dana Goldstein, and this is the history of America's most embattled profession. I heard about this listening to the radio a while back. I think it was during the Red for Ed protests that were going on last year. So I'm just going to read the inside the front cover synopsis so that we can be on the same page. Because it could probably explain it a little better than I can. Like, I heard the synopsis on the radio a really long time ago. Teaching is a wildly contentious profession in America, one attacked and admired in equal measure. In The Teacher Wars, a rich and lively and unprecedented history of public school teaching, Dana Goldstein reveals that teachers have been similarly embattled for nearly 2 centuries. From the genteel founding of the Common Schools movement in the 19th century to the violent inner-city teacher strikes of the 1960s and 70s, from the dispatching of Northeastern women to frontier schoolhouses to the founding of Teach for America on the Princeton University campus in 1990, Goldstein shows that the same issues have continued to bedevil us. Who should teach? What should be taught? Who should be held accountable for how our children learn? I thought this sounded super interesting, not only just because I am a high school teacher, but because I think during the radio segment that I heard, they were kind of like comparing it to history is written by the winners of wars. And so how does changes in society over time or ideals in society in different communities reflect what's being taught in our schools and the values and resources that children have? How is that reflected in textbooks and curriculum, in what's being talked about in the classroom? So yeah, if there's any educators or anyone who's interested in hearing more about this after I read it, let me know. I'll do a vlog. Next, we have another manga. It is called The 14th Dalai Lama, a manga biography by Tetsusaiga. When I saw this, I thought it was super, super cute. Like, look at his little face. He's just a little cute little guy. But this is basically a biography about the current Dalai Lama. We are in the time of the 14th Dalai Lama. The back synopsis says, at the age of 2, Tenzin Gyatso, child of a peasant family in northeastern Tibet, was recognized as the reincarnation of his predecessor, the 13th Dalai Lama, the manifestation of the Buddha of compassion. Just 14 years later, this extraordinary young man assumed full political power over his nation upon the invasion of Chinese forces, and he has since become one of the most influential spiritual leaders of our time. This is the story of his extraordinary life, told vividly and unforgettably through the art of manga. So like I said before, I'm not really like a super devout religious person. However, I do believe it's super important to learn and understand different cultures and different practices. So when I heard that there was a manga biography, I thought that was super cute and original. Like, if all biographies were in manga form, I'd read them all. And like I have listened to speeches given by the Dalai Lama in the past, and they're always about like compassion and understanding and just more about humanity than spirituality. So instead of reading about one of his teachings, I thought it would be much more interesting to read his biography. So I'm super excited to read this. It looks super cute, and it's really short. It's only like a couple hundred pages. It's really cute. Next, we have 7 Days in the Art World by Sarah Thornton. This is a book about a woman who works in the art world. She visited like Art Basel. She worked at multiple galleries in Chelsea or something, and like I don't know if she was a consultant for galleries. She went to the Venice Biennial, like if she was a dealer or a consultant or a gallerist or someone, but it talks about her interactions with different people in the contemporary art world. And man, if you have never been to opening night at a gallery in Chelsea, Manhattan, New York City art gallery openings are like... So to give you a taste of what a New York City art gallery opening is like, this one time I went, I will never forget it. It was like this art show about feminism or something. And like there was a woman who like doused herself in this blue material, and at some point all her clothes were missing, and then it was supposed to be making some sort of statement about like feminism and the female body and curvature and sexuality. And to be honest, I didn't understand why she was naked and then dousing herself in blue stuff and eating oranges, but everyone else was crying, and I was sitting there like, what is happening? Like, I turned to when she was done, everybody was like clapping and like, oh my god, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I turned to my friend who I was there with, and I said to her like, listen, do you understand what just happened? And then she goes, it's so beautiful. And I was like, could somebody please tell me what's going on? I don't know. Yeah, that's what it's like. So to get yes, us artists are very eccentric. I thought this would be a fun read, since that was just one of the experiences that I had. Being an insider, she might have a lot more. Sis might have a lot more tea to spill. So yeah, I think this is gonna be fun. Okay, and then the last book in this mini random quarantine book haul is called Art Right. The writing Writing Guide for Visual Artists, Crafting Effective Artist Statements and Promotional Materials by Vicky Cron Amoros? Oh, hey. So it's about like writing, becoming a better writer and creating your artist statement. Artist statements are super, super important because like you need to be able, the artist statement is the only chance you have to make sure that your the message of your artwork is clear and concise and justified so that judges can understand it through a JPEG, because they will not be able to see it in person. Usually when you're applying to an art exhibit, your artist statement needs to be strong. So I'm hoping that this gives some like, I mean, I feel like I'm already pretty good at writing artist statements, but maybe I'm hoping that this will give a little bit more insight that I can use to help my AP art students write their art statements a little bit better. Because everyone's writing can always need improvement, mine as well. Here we go. Here's the finished pile. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching my mini random quarantine book haul. If any of these titles interest you, let me know. Please, no spoilers. This feels like the most random reading taste ever. Like, we have history, manga, fantasy, writing guides. I don't know. This feels like a really this feels like the most random book haul. If you'd like to start a discussion on any of these books down below, feel free to comment. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
What's it making, Mr. Wonka? Mr. Wonka worked the factory.